Hello, I'm Jennifer. I'm a chirology and palmistry practitioner and teacher based in Johannesburg. And today's topic is limp fish handshakes. Remember, in the previous video, I spoke about all the various things that you can tell about hands from a distance. And I've included handshake in the mix because there is something about being rather impersonal about shaking hands, especially in the corporate life. As a reader or as a therapist, you want to be shaking your clients' hands as they arrive, and you are indeed informed by, to quite a large extent by several aspects of that shake. It includes also the consistency of the hand, whether the hand goes mushy or whether it's firm. But today the focus is on a particularly soft handshake. Before we get into what a limp fish handshake might reveal about people, I want to talk a little about the deeper reason as to why people come for readings in the first case. We have in chirology a very specific context for counseling and coaching. It's a model known as the 5 realms, and it pertains to the physical, the emotional, the vocational, the mental, and the spiritual areas of people's lives. Now, when people come with a very soft handshake, there's a counseling and coaching theme behind that. It may be to do with economic dependency. It may be to do with depression. It may be to do with being, for example, very shy, and several others which we'll cover in a moment. I've spoken a lot about this in my book, Illustrated Chirology, Palmistry and Hand Reading, which you'll find the link if you're interested in the book in the info below. And in this book too, I've gone quite deeply into the importance of having a counseling and coaching model in the palmistic work that you want to be doing. Right, let's get right to it as to why do people shake hands in such a gentle, soft, limp fish way. Before we talk about soft handshakes, let's not forget that in certain cultures people do shake hands in a very gentle way, for example in Africa and in the East, where there's respect shown through the gentle handshake, and one can even possibly interpret some element of inscrutability as if the person isn't showing that much of themselves. But that's another whole conversation. For today we're going to talk about the Western handshake, the limp fish handshake, and what might that show you about the person. The first thing is a confidence issue. You know, if somebody offers a really passive handshake, it could simply show in a very innocent way that they don't have any self-esteem. They might be very shy. If you think of a woman, for example, who's economically dependent, isn't out in the workplace, doesn't have much of an identity, and shakes hand really gently and softly, that could be the deeper reason as to why that person doesn't give a firm shake. Now, a second reason might be that the person's ill. When we're ill, we don't have energy, and it's that simple. I mean, we should never judge a person who shakes hands softly. I know in the corporate life it's considered to be a bad sign, but really there are often very innocent and deep meanings why that person simply cannot give of themselves. The person who is ill might have something like a real crisis going on, a chronic crisis, an acute crisis perhaps, and therefore they don't have energy to shake hands firmly. A third reason is to do with depression. People who are very depressed often cannot shake hands firmly. They are, especially if their hands are moist, that's something to add into the mix here. If you feel that moisture in the hands, you know the person is in an emotional crisis and they don't have resources. Now, a fourth reason is self-absorption. It's about being very self-centered, very selfish, very self-absorbed, and there's nothing to give. In that case, it's almost like the person can barely deign to offer you their fingers, let alone their palms. Not such a good look. Then a fifth reason is to do with a basic energy of non-committalness, like a complete disinterest in, it's similar to self-absorbed, but it's a non-committal. It's as if there's really no way to really participate. There's a listlessness, there's an apathy in that person. Again, that would interweave with several of the other meanings I've mentioned here. But there's a lack of coping skills in that person. They don't really feel that resourceful. So there are 5 possible reasons why people shake hands really softly. And, you know, for us hand readers, the first thing we do when a client comes is shake their hand. So there's an enormous amount of information that comes to us just from that initial meeting. And in the next video, I'll talk about a hard handshake. And I'd love to hear from you all about your hand reading experiences, what questions you might have, what interests you particularly, Are you studying hand reading? Are you a hand reader, a practitioner? What is your area of particular interest? I'd be delighted if you like and subscribe, and I look forward to speaking with you next week when the topic will be hard handshakes. Bye for now.